Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, I think you can hear me and see me because I said hi to Toyin.
Yeah, we can hear you and see you.
Okay,
Yes, we can hear you.
good. What I want to do first is I know some of you because you had 121 with me. I don't know others. So my name is Mary Gessel, and I been teaching for this is the fourth semester. And I live here in Pennsylvania. I live in Hanover. And what else can I tell you? I teach anatomy and physiology and general biology other places. And I think we'll have a really good semester. I'm sorry, I am not a really big morning person. If you had me last semester, you kind of already know that, but we're working on it. Do you have any questions for me right off the top?
My question, I have a question.
Go for it, Toyin.
About the textbook,
Yes.
both for the lecture and the lab. So
Yep.
I'm not
Let
sure
me,
what to use.
Toyin, can I ask you to do me a favor right now? Can you share your screen and let me just show you how to access them? You know how to share your screen on Zoom? I'm not sure if we ever did this last semester.
I'm on my phone.
Okay, can you share your screen on your phone, maybe? I don't know.
No, I don't think I'm
Okay.
unable to.
Let me ask somebody else who I know who's here. Isabel, are you able to share your screen?
Yes, I can do that. Let's see, share. It says host disabled participant screen
shoot.
sharing.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I did not do that. Now do it.
Okay. All right. Can everyone see that?
I can when I get rid of the screen.
Yes.
Yes. So do me a favor, go into our class site there. And I am assuming that most of you have had, can you do me a favor, Isabel? I don't know if we have anybody, I don't know if Hack allows you to do this with anybody who's transferring from another school and had 121 somewhere else. Will you do me a favor and go all the way to the my Hack portal?
Okay.
Okay, so to access our class, you go into Brightspace D2L. Show them how to do this, Isabel.
Okay. You go to Brightspace, and then the courses will pop up. And then this is our class.
Okay, so click on our class. And then I'm going to have you scroll down a little bit. And what I want you to do first is to do me a favor, click on chapter 18, blood.
Okay.
We had some problems. I can't remember if we had problems with this class or if we had problems if it was just with another class, but we have problems with people not being able to access textbooks. You should all have access to the textbook. If you go into McGraw-Hill Connect, like I'm going to have Isabel do right now, and it makes you pay for it, I want you to immediately contact me. And the reason is because you already paid for it. You paid for it when you paid your tuition. So do me a favor and just click on the Smart Book chapter 18. And click launch.
It. Okay. All right, there it is.
So did you already, Isabel, did you already, before you came to class, make sure you have access to the textbooks?
I did not. I do have the physical copies of the textbooks.
Okay, but you didn't. Toyin, do you see how she got to that?
Yeah, I'm there already on my laptop here. I'm following
Okay.
what she's doing.
Now do me a favor, Isabel, close out of this.
Okay.
And go back to our class.
Okay.
And go to table of contents.
Okay.
And now go down to the Wiley lab exercises on the left side. Go down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down some more. Right there, Wiley lab exercises.
Okay.
Now click on the lab exercise 26. Now at the very, click on that. Open it up. That is the other textbook. And now I'm going to have you do one more thing. Close out of this. This is where you're going to do the lab exercises later this afternoon. Where is, go back to table of contents. And go to the Wiley, scroll down, go to the Wiley lab manual. Click on that. Your textbook is right here. There's a combination of a lot of things here. But your I'm sorry, not your textbook. This is your lab manual. If you click right at the left-hand corner here, if you see that's a Wiley Plus e-textbook, that will pull up that book, your lab manual.
I launched the Wiley textbook.
Yep, launch on that if you want. Let's see what it does. So if you set up an account here, if you want to set up an account here, Isabel, keep going unless it makes you, or don't set up an account. Let's see what it does if you just don't set up an account. So this gets you to the front of the page.
Professor.
Scroll down. One second, Toya.
Professor.
1 second.
Okay.
1 second. Scroll down here. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down. Scroll down to lab exercise 26. Exercise 26. Right there. That is what this is what we will be working on later this afternoon. Okay, Toyin, what was your question really quick? And then I know there's another question on
It's
chat.
asking for my email. Am I to put my
Is it
email?
which Toyin, is it the Wiley one or is it the McGraw-Hill Connect?
Wiley Plus.
Don't just if you saw what she did, bear with me here.
It's at the
Just
at the
skip
bottom.
it.
Skip it.
Bear with me here because I have a bunch of students emailing me telling me they can't get into our class. So I'm gonna have you stop sharing your screen just for a second there, Isabel, and I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna try to send them a quick email here. Sarah. It's not the right place to send an email. Bear with me just for a second here. Okay. This is. Oh, I have to remember who Nina Sherry was. Her. Why is it showing me everyone here? Just How did you guys get into the meeting today?
I click on the link that says both lecture and lab link.
Okay,
Then it took me.
Yeah, I got
Yeah.
on D2L.
Yeah, I
okay,
had to use the D2L link. When I used the link in the email, it wasn't working.
okay.
The class meeting link for D2L.
Okay. Oh, she did. Shoot. Let me see here. Hopefully this will just happen the first day, once we get this figured out, but I try, it is important to me that you're able to be in our class. And when someone can't be in our class, I will try to spend a few minutes to try to get them into the class. So give me one moment here.
I got it now. I don't
You
know
got
why
it?
the other one didn't work.
I don't know either, but I'm
Okay,
I'm
I'm
glad
here.
you're here. Okay, all right.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Let me see, who else is this?
Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
what?
I didn't want to call you, but I am
It's all
on
right.
the actual syllabus, and I am clicking on
Try,
the actual.
did you try the link, not on the syllabus, but on the link, on D2L? There's
Yeah, that
that,
worked.
that classroom link, at the very top.
Let me get into that way.
I can't remember who this is. It's not Nina.
Jade.
Jade,
Phillips.
I knew it.
Yes.
I thought I know who this is.
Yes. Okay, classroom meeting link. Let me try it that way. I'm clicking on it now. Open to meeting.
There you are.
We got it.
There
Thank
you
you.
are.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
good. All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, let me try to, I got someone else. Give me 1 second here. I thought the links were the same thing, but obviously they're not. If they're not allowing you in. Give me 1 second here. Who was that from? and wonder how, because you would think the first day we would have everyone here, and we don't have everyone here. But there's the one who just emailed me, which makes me wonder how many people are struggling to get access today. One second, I apologize for having to do this right now, but I'm gonna try something. So this is a link you tried, Becky.
Yeah, and that one did not allow me in.
Okay, let me do
The D2L one, once I clicked on that, because that was my next step, I remembered from last time that one worked better. So as soon as I clicked on that, it was boom.
Okay, let me do this. I don't know if I can access this on here. I'm gonna try. Actually, I don't think I can, not with this computer. Bear with me. Wait, I'm gonna put another link in here. Edit link. Create link. Just for right now.
Sorry, that's
I was
my
gonna
pup.
say someone's dog is not very impressed.
Well, it's been an interesting ride. We all came down with COVID for the second time, and we
Oh,
got a
lucky
puppy at
you.
Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the puppy's in his kennel because he's not quite housebroken yet. So you will hear that from time to time. He is, yeah, he's a German Shepherd. So he is like, loves to be with people. And my husband just put him back in his kennel before he left for work. So you'll have to just bear with us.
We can tolerate that. But I'll tell you, so I have my little dog here. Let me just
Yeah.
so I have my little dog here. And then on top of that, at least as of last night, Ruby. Well, they have to meet the dog.
Oh, did you get another one?
This is kind of, do you remember hearing a dog in the background last time barking a little bit?
Yeah, it was your neighbor.
Yes. Well, guess who's here? Come here. Stop doing this to me. Come here. I'm gonna get her so you can see her a little bit. Can you see her?
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Is she a
Hi.
German Shepherd?
She is what is she called?
She's a Belgian Malinois.
Belgian Malinois.
Oh,
Yeah, she's 14 years old. So,
she looks like it. She's cute though. Yeah.
yeah,
Huh. Yeah.
yeah. Her owner is been gone for over 2 months. So
We finally,
Yeah.
we moved her in.
we moved her in yesterday because I
She's lonely.
got tired of listening to her bark all night long, and it was, and
Yeah.
she seems to be, once she gets used to it, she's gonna be fairly happy here.
I'm sure.
I think she's reasonably happy right now.
If you quit waiting,
If I quit waking her up, yes. All right, someone still can't get into the textbooks though. Katie, what is it telling you when you try to go into the textbooks?
I was able to make it in now.
Okay. Let's see here. Go in.
Also, is there a different link for the lab, or do we just join the same
It's the
Zoom?
same link. It's the
Okay.
same one. All right, let's see here. Am I missing something as well? How do we attend lab? Jade, have you figured that out?
Yeah, that's what I was asking. I just remember for A and P1, I do think the lab request numbers were different. So I just wanted to make sure if it was the same one. I know I struggled with that. Okay,
No,
thank
it's
you.
okay. Don't worry about it. It's the same link.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else struggling to get into the textbooks?
I just have one question about the Connect one
Okay.
with the inclusive access. When I go onto like Hack Red Shelf and go into the textbook, it's like not giving me it, if that makes sense.
What is it telling you?
It's like saying when I click on the actual textbook, it's like to access your course materials, return to your course in your LMS and click the links provided by your instructor.
Can you share your screen with me?
Yeah.
I don't think you can access the textbook through Red Shelf. It's a different system, I think.
Okay.
Let me see if I can't help you get there a different way. If I can see your screen when I can see it. Okay, how about don't close out of this.
Close out of it.
Yeah, close out of this. Let's go to myhack.edu.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't mean to stop sharing your screen.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. I was not clear there.
No, sorry about that.
It's all right. No worries.
Okay.
So Brightspace D2L. Now go to, yep, go on there. Now scroll down. Scroll down to chapter 18, blood. Go up a little bit more. Well, right there. Now click on that. Click on that right there. Click log.
Oh, okay. Got it
Now
now.
what I want to do here, just for a minute, because one of them, we're doing this right now because one of the major hurdles for online classes is first getting into the class, and second, being able to access your textbooks. So if you see right there where it says read on the left, down on the left column, click on that right there. So this is one of the chapters. This is chapter 13. Do you see how you're going to be able to access the textbook?
Yeah.
All right, Alexa, yours doesn't do this. What is it doing? Just has the assignment, the column
Yeah,
to the
when I
left.
got on it, it has the assignments on there.
Can you share your screen? Lex, can you share your screen?
It's not letting me.
Oh, let's see here. Kayla, did you stop sharing your screen?
Yeah, I stopped sharing.
Okay. And it's not letting you now?
No.
Alexa? What can we do? Can you do me a, can you click on, if you go into contents, if you go under contents and go to smart book and just click on the smart book. When you do that, over on the left-hand column, do you see where it says read the textbook?
I can't find the red. What'd you say to click on?
The where it says read. So click on here, bear with me just for a second here. I'm going to go into student view. And I know it's not always the same, but I'm going to try. So if you come in, you just click on chapter 18 right here. And then click Smart Book, chapter 18, Blood. Click Launch.
I'm sorry I came in late.
That's what it did to you. Now let's do some right here. Let's click Home. And right here, and on yours, it actually is over here and it says read. But if you click on this, it should bring up the textbook.
Yeah, mine doesn't have the textbooks on the side.
Alexa, because I can't see your screen, I'm gonna ask you, you're gonna have to call McGraw-Hill. Because I wonder if you have a pop-up blocker. And I don't know why that would, because I can't see your screen, I don't know what it looks like. Who else is having this problem? Is there someone else who's not being able to access that textbook? Alexa, do me a favor. Let's do something else. Yeah, actually, I don't know.
Do you think it might have put me in the, like the normal, like not your class like it did last time?
Oh, Alexa, you're that one. Oh, shoot. Alexa, I'm going to give you a phone number right now. And I'm going to ask you to call this person and tell them whose class you're in. Bear with me just for a second. All right, I'm going to get, do you have a pen and paper, Alexa?
Yeah.
717 358 2243. Call that person. His name is Jim, J-I-M.
Everything else.
Groff, Groff. Call him right now and tell him that I told him to, he knows my name. We talked a lot last semester, and we've even talked this semester too. He's the director for the bookstores. Tell him what is going on, that you can't get into the textbook, and explain to him that you got in the wrong class the last time. And ask him to help you get into the right class.
All right. Thank
Can
you.
you do that right now? Okay. Is there anybody else who's having a problem? Yeah, Alexa was the lucky one who ended up getting into the wrong class with regards to the textbook last semester. So we're not gonna have that happen this semester, hopefully. Anybody else who can't access one of the textbooks? If you click on coming back in here, table of contents, for the lab manual later today, if you click on, bear with me here. Wiley lab exercises. First one is going to be this one. And if you click on this, I'm going to actually move it. I'm just going to try to move it. Oh, I'm in the student view, that's why I can't move it. If you click on this, this is the Wiley lab manual. These are the questions you're going to answer. This is one assignment. And we'll talk about this later today in lab.
When I hit that link, it just says white label error page.
Okay, you know what? Can you go in, Katie, can you go in through another browser? Do you have like, what browser are you using right now?
I currently use Safari. I can try my Chrome.
Try Chrome.
Okay.
Yeah, mine isn't working because it's on Safari too. I'm gonna try a different browser.
Yeah, try Chrome, because I know we did that the other night and it worked fine. Once you go through
Yeah,
Chrome.
mine is the same way. I always have to use Chrome. Safari never works.
Okay. Other problems right now?
I know in your the syllabus it says about not using a Chromebook. What if we have a Chromebook? Then what do we do? Everything's working, like I can log on to everything, but I'd have a Chromebook at the end of the day, so I don't know.
Then don't, give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Hi, this is Mary. Hi. Oh, you know what? Let me let me give you another ID. Give me 1 second here. Because yeah, no, don't worry. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna give you another link. And that wasn't right. Bear with me. Let me come back. One second here.
Okay, take your time. I'm sorry. I was just.
No, don't apologize. Give me 1 moment here.
Okay.
Because the one on the syllabus is not working.
Oh, it's not. That makes sense because I logged in at 8 a.m., but I waited and waited. It won't let me
Oh,
get in.
Review topic. Let's see what that does. Isn't yet. Morning, Casey.
Good morning.
Oh, you know what? I know what's wrong.
Morning, Casey. How are you?
Hi, Becky. I don't know how I'm doing. I'm just here.
Oh, I hear you. I said I'm recovering from COVID for the second time. So
Just 1 second here.
We can't win.
Log out.
no.
There's the switch. Oh, shoot. Okay, that did not work. Give me 1 second.
Yes. I was gonna call you guys this morning. We're waiting for this COVID test to come back. Thought it would come back today, but I don't know. So yes, he is feeling better. He's just complaining of a severe headache now. Yeah. So we're not sure. Yeah, we're just waiting.
Okay, let me give you a different link. So this is HTTPS.
Okay.
That the colon / hack.zoom.us /J
Zoom.us
/J.
J.
Yeah, J is in Juliet. And then / and then 989964 00969.
Okay.
Try going into that right now.
Okay, so it would be HTTPS :/hack.zoom.us // J another / 98996400969.
Okay, read the numbers one more time.
98996400969.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I will try that again.
Okay, try going in there and just stay on the line here. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Sounds good. Let me try it.
What is it showing you there?
I must have missed something. You're surged, not much any documentation. Oh gosh.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go into hack and put that number in? Go into the hack Zoom and just put in that ID number, that meeting ID number. see if that works. Is there anybody else who has not been able to access the textbooks? Casey,
Yeah.
have you been able to access the textbooks?
No, ma'am.
Okay, do me a favor. Can you share your screen really quick? And are you using Safari or are you using Chrome?
I'm using Chrome.
Okay. So share your screen when you're able. When you're ready, go to our D2L.
Okay.
Go to chapter 18 blood. Let's go to the McGraw-Hill Connect first. She is. Okay. So actually don't go to that one. Go go back to the table of contents. Go back to chapter 18 blood.
Right here, just click right here.
Yep, click on that. Now go down to the Smart Book, chapter 18. And click launch. Okay, so there's the assignments and there's the textbook right there. Now I'm going to have you go back and click on the Smart Book chapter 8. Actually, click on the Hack portal. And then click on Brightspace again. And go to table of contents, or in our class, go to table of contents. And scroll down on there until you get to Wiley. Scroll, yeah, that works too. Scroll down to, keep going down, go down, go down. So the Wiley lab manual is right there. Click on that for right now. Click on that, Casey.
Yeah, I'm clicking. I don't.
Is it not letting you click on it?
No, that's weird.
Click on the Wiley.
To show up.
Click on the Wiley lab exercises below it. Okay, click on, you see where it says lab exercise 26, blood components and blood tests. Click on that.
Yeah.
So just agree to the terms of use and click continue. And then click continue. Do not ask me again. I would click, well, either one. This is the first lab exercise. So this is access to the lab manual.
Mine still says error even when I try it on Chrome. It's okay though. You don't got to worry about it right now. We can figure it out later if that's okay with you.
Let's work on this in a little bit.
Okay.
But do you have access to the McGraw-Hill Connect?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Okay. Anyone else with problems getting onto McGraw-Hill Connect? For right now, I'm going to have Casey stop sharing her screen.
Oh, I forgot.
And let's come into the syllabus really quickly here. One of the major hurdles with online classes is getting people into the class and then getting you access to your textbooks. And from there on, a lot of the semester is smooth sailing if we can get through those hurdles. So that was pretty important. It'll make your life easier and my life easier when you can access all that. And I'm understanding at this point, the link on the syllabus is not working. There's this link up here is also available, and I just put it there, and I will adjust the syllabus. I can't do it on this computer. So that's the reason I haven't already done it, but I will do it. So my name is Mary Gessel, and if you figured out from these students who have had me before, be open and honest in here. Just I can see a lot of you that I don't know so well. You're catching on if you're not already. Just be open and honest with me. Tell me what's going on. As far as I know, I've never hit or bit anybody intentionally.
No.
So far. And so I'm a fairly nice person. Keep me updated with what's going on, and I will try to help you through things. It does matter to me how well you do. And so I want to know what's going on and just keep me updated. Like we've already had one student say that her family's gone through COVID twice now. And I know that Becky's is not unique in that there's other families who are doing that. If something like that happens during the semester, just tell me. We'll figure out something. I know last semester, I'm not sure if it wasn't, some of you were probably in that class, but others were not. We had a student whose best friend was killed in Harrisburg, murdered in the hallway of his apartment building. Just tell me what's going on and we'll figure things out. My phone number, my cell phone number is right here. I'm an adjunct faculty member for the school, so I do not have an office at the school. I do not have an office number at the school. That's why I'm giving you my cell phone number right here. If you can't get a hold of me via email through Hack, call and text me. Text me first and then call me. When you text me the first time and also when you email me the first time, put down what's your name and what class are you in? Let me know that first. So this semester, this is the second part of A&P. So we will be covering, this is a typo right here. Obviously, because we covered this last semester. But what is the deal? We will be covering, we're going to start with blood. Actually, I'm going to come down. I'm going to scroll down because if we just look at the schedule here, you'll see what we'll be covering. We're going to start with blood. We're going to then move into lymphatics and the immune system. Then we're going to work on the heart and the blood vessels and circulation. Then the endocrine system, the respiratory system, the urinary system, fluid and electrolyte balance, the digestive system, nutrition and metabolism, and then the reproduction systems. Scrolling back up here. The two textbooks that are required for this class are the Saladin 9th edition textbook and the lab manual, the 7th edition.
Wait.
If you do not have access to them right now, do not pay for access to them. And the reason I ask you not to, I plead for you not to pay for them is you already have paid for them with your tuition. We will figure out if some of you are still struggling to get access, we will figure out why you don't have access to them and we will get you access to them. But do not pay for them because you've already paid for them. Communication. It will communicate via announcements and news events by displaying them on the D2L course homepage. Also, make sure you check your Hotmail account frequently, maybe every other day, at least. Learning outcomes, so cardiovascular, endocrine system, lymphatic, respiratory, digestive, urinary, reproduction. How will you earn your grade this semester? We're going to have 3 lecture exams. They will be through McGraw-Hill Connect. They're a combination of multiple choice, true, false, fill in the blank, and matching questions. And you'll have 2 attempts. Your highest score will be the one recorded. They're not cumulative. They'll cover everything from the last exam. You'll also have chapter quizzes that will be timed and can consist of the same types of questions. So you may, if you study those carefully, the chapter quizzes, if you look at those carefully and take both attempts, you may see when you go to the next, the following exam on that same chapter, you may see that some of the questions are the same. For each chapter that we cover in lecture, you're going to have 1 smart book assignment, which is going to encourage you to read the textbook, and 1 chapter quiz. Students, if you had me last semester, what else did you have per chapter? Do you remember from last semester?
What was the question?
It was like the bookwork.
It was like what?
It was like a bookwork. Like you,
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called,
Like
but
it
you
was-
would go through and answer questions.
The
There was
practice.
regardless of what,
practice,
The
and then the
practice.
quiz.
Yeah.
there we go.
You can see I took that off. I decided I thought that I think I felt I'm learning every semester, and I may learn after this semester that it wasn't a good idea, but for right now I've taken it off. You don't have that anymore per chapter.
What were you talking about? I'm sorry.
I heard a nice in there.
That was funny. That was funny.
What were you talking about?
So you had do you remember, Catherine, how you had those chapter practices last semester?
Oh yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
have those now.
Oh, why? I actually like them.
You like them? Well, you still have the chapter quizzes. You just don't have those.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe I should take that back because that did help a lot with her grade.
Right.
I know, right?
Well,
And what of the grades? Hope it won't affect the grades.
There's other things that will help your grade. There's other
Oh.
things that will help your grade. So we still have a chapter quiz. And one other thing that if you had me for lab and lecture, you might have remembered this. If you didn't have me for lab and lecture, you haven't seen this before, but we're going to have case studies, and we'll have 3 of them this semester. And what this is it's going to ask you to look at a real life case scenario and apply what you're learning to the case. And we will, some people hate these, some people love them.
That sounds hard, Miss Mary.
You can do this. Casey, I have full
Casey,
confidence.
you can do it.
I know you can do this.
Okay.
But you're going to submit these in the Dropbox on using either a Word, PDF, or JPEG documents. If you submit them in another format, the possibilities of me being able to open them are really, really slim. I need you to submit them as these types of documents. If you submit them as a Google Docs, I cannot open it. And I learned, I've tried to open them in the past, and I learned that I would have to pay for it to be able to open them. And I am just not willing to do that right now. Let me know if there's a problem with submitting them as a Word, PDF, or JPEG. But we'll talk more about this when you have your first one. With labs, gonna have lab exercise questions. And it's not gonna be the Tuesday. There's a lot of typos in here. It's not gonna be the Tuesday, it's gonna be the Thursday after the lab at midnight.
Thursday, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to do some changes here because this is not completely right. This will not be timed. This is not timed. And this is not good. I see here. So this will be due on Thursday. I will update this. Let's go over this in lab today. And I will update this between the end of lecture and when lab starts. Because that's just kind of a mess, and I'm not going to try to remember it. So for each chapter that we cover in lecture, you're going to have one smart book assignment and one chapter quiz. Throughout the semester, we'll have 3 exams. And 3 case studies. That's lecture. For lab, there will be 3 virtual labs, some lab exercise questions, and some lab quests. let's talk more about these in lab. This part right here. And then we'll have a final. Altogether, the semester will be worth 1,400 points.
That's both classes, right? 1,400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Plan on spending, and if you survived 121, then you know that this class can be kind of an aggressive class. There's a lot of material here. Plan on spending at least 2 hours for every hour spent in the classroom. So at approximately 12 hours outside of class. If you are attending every time, and you'll see I have some people who show their faces on camera. I encourage this. I would love it if everyone did it. And the reason is because it lets me know, first off, what you look like when I see you and when I hear you. And if you get confused when we're discussing something, I can oftentimes look at your face and see whether or not you're confused or not. Makes it more like a real classroom. I really encourage you to just speak up. You can interrupt me. If I'm trying to finish a thought, I'll tell you to just wait for a second and let me finish what I'm trying to say. But I encourage you just to talk. Let's see here. Makeup policy. If there's a problem, just let me know. If you've had me before, you know that and students who haven't had me before, if you miss something, if a deadline passes and you didn't get it done, just let me know and I'll extend it out. I'll ask you what assignment it is and approximately when do you think you'll have it done, and I'll extend it out for you.
I'm sorry, you actually kind of cut out for me there. Can you repeat that?
Okay, Alexa, did you get into the right class? Alexa, is this you?
No, it's Jade.
Jade. So what was I saying? Bear with me.
If you
miss an assignment, if you miss a deadline on an assignment, email me or text me and tell me what the name of the assignment is and approximately when do you think you'll have it done.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you.
That's fine. And I will extend it out for you. Cheating, plagiarism, interference. With the major part where I see that this happens, I had it happen one time last semester. The case studies, if your answers are word for word someone else's, I'm gonna wonder how you got the same exact wording. And it's all right for me to ask those kind of questions. I don't like asking them. But use your own words when answering those questions.
Question.
Go.
Can we use citations if we have to?
Yes, you can.
So if we have to quote someone, put them in quotes and use citations, that's acceptable.
That's acceptable. Yes.
Perfect.
On this same thing, let's talk. I'm going to shift gears just for a second here. If you had me last semester, don't answer this question. On the exams, are you allowed to use your textbooks? Are you allowed to use your notes?
Yes.
Yes. Are you allowed to use your peers? Yes. You can use anything that's at your disposal. I don't try to tell you no. I'm not going to tell you no because I can't enforce something like that. And part of learning is partly being able to figure out how to look up the material. But another reason that you need to study for the exams is because you are timed.
Where's your bedroom trash can now?
So you only have a certain amount of time. And so use what's available to you, but at the same time, recognize that they're timed. Any questions? Any questions about anything before we jump into one of these chapters? I will tell you, and I'll be honest with you, this is my first semester teaching this class. I've taught 121 a couple times. I've taught just the lab to 122. But I have never taught the 122, this AMP2 lecture for hack. I taught AMP2, the anatomy and physiology part 2 over the summer at Carroll Community College. Don't recommend taking it anatomy and physiology over the summer. That was a lot of work. And if I thought it was hard for me, it was hard for the students. But that is the one and only time I've ever taught, one and only other time that I've taught anatomy and physiology too. And I will tell you that I got hired there about 2 weeks before the semester, before it started.
Okay.
And it was four hours a day, 4 days a week for the summer session. And it was absolutely insane. And I don't remember a whole lot about it. It was kind of a blur. Honestly, it only happened about 2 years ago, but I still remember very little about it. My mother says because I'm severely traumatized. And I think she's probably right. But so some of what we talk about may come out a little rough. Be patient with me here. I'm doing the best I can. And if something isn't clear, let me know and we'll work through it. I am teaching, I haven't taught AMP2 before, except for that summer. But I do teach anatomy and physiology at Stevenson University. And so I'm not completely coming up with the class purely from scratch. I'm using some of the materials I had from that school for this class. And so if it comes off a little rough, just be honest with me and tell me when something is not clear, and I'll work on it. But if you look here, there's the PowerPoint. There's 2 video links. And there's the smart book assignment and a quiz. So for each chapter that we cover in lecture, remember there's going to be a smart book assignment and a quiz. Time is it? You guys, if you don't mind, I know we just spent the day working on the syllabus and working through some of the technical issues, but let's take 10 minutes to move around and let's come back at 9:25 and we'll start from there.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to soak this fan, so it's just blowing on you. Let's move the rocker later and let's shift her so she's not.
Oh, I'm not going to shift her. I'm just going to move the rocker because I can't. It's a mess. Unless you need it for some reason. This is such an awkward beast when I can't get on the correct side of it. There. I gotta get these. Oh, a lot of the trash in here is not. I got one thing. Darn it.
Alexa, did you get into the right class?
They didn't get a hold of me yet. I did call him though.
Okay.
He said that he would email my information to some team and then they'd get a hold of me.
Okay. All right. Zena,
Yes,
have you had this class before? Have you had AMP1 before?
yes, I have. It was a while ago, like years ago, but yes.
Have you do you know? Have you asked your hack advice? What did you take it here through hack?
Yes.
Will the credits transfer over?
Yes.
Okay, so we just need to get you into this class.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So we just need to get you into this class.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Do we right now, while we're both right here and we have a few seconds here.
I'm sorry, my video, my internet for whatever reason wasn't working, so I just got on my phone. So my video is not working.
I understand that. Here,
Okay.
tell me really quick.
Mhm.
Let's get you into the right class. 2022. What's your course ID again? Your hack ID?
H016
H016
14 755.
755.
Mhm.
All right. I see what I did wrong. Okay. Let's see here. All right. It's not with a U, it's with an E.
It's HAIL. Yep.
Okay, it's still saying no matches. Let's try something.
I'm going upstairs to work today. Mhm.
Oh, that's why it wasn't working. I think you have to drop the other class too.
Oh, I did already because
Oh,
that
you
wasn't.
did, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't gonna work out for me with the schedule.
I understand that kind of thing. Okay, you should be able to register for it now.
Okay, thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
Of course. Terry, did you get into the class?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I kept looking at the like email link
Yeah,
and I apologize.
no, don't worry. I don't think the link is right. And I'll fix it after, I'll fix it in between lab and lecture. I mean, in between lecture and lab.
Yeah, the one on like D2L is fine. It's just the one that was, I kept looking at the email one. I should have checked both. That was my fault.
Do you know if the one on the syllabus is correct?
No, so that one's not, well, the one on the syllabus via the email, let me double check right now and see. No, so that one's not correct.
All right.
But yeah, but the one like on D2L, you know, like the link for it, the class Zoom meeting link, that's fine. So that's the one that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
All right. I'll get it figured out.
All right.
All right. Let's jump into this. So blood. I am doing this a little different from other AMP. Like I told you, this is my first semester teaching AMP 2. I'm doing it a little different this semester than other professors. And a nice thing about Hack is I have a lot of flexibility sometimes. As long as I cover certain chapters, I can cover them in any order I want to. When you're dealing with a sick patient and you're trying to figure out what possibly could be wrong with them, what's one of the first things people do?
Draw blood.
They draw blood. That's why we're starting with blood. Is let's talk about blood first. And we will learn that the immune system ties a lot into the blood. And that's why we're going to do the immune system next. And then how do you pump blood throughout the body? You pump it out, you pump it using the heart. That's why we're going to do the heart next. And then we'll do the blood vessels and we'll move from there. So the blood represents about 8% of the total body weight. Let me ask one more question. Sorry, bear with me here. How many of you used those study guides that I gave you last semester?
I did it first. Yeah, and I would just use the assignments and then the like, what are they called? PowerPoints towards the end.
Okay. So if I don't put them up, or at least I don't get them up immediately, that's all right.
I would think so, yeah.
Okay. If you change your mind, let me know. Like I told you, this course, because it's a first time teaching it for me, it's a lot more work than it was for me to teach 121 when it was the third go around or fourth go around. If you have suggestions for something that may or work better for you, or would you like me to do things just a little differently, let me know. I'm always open to feedback. I want to know what you think, because otherwise classes work a lot better if your professor knows what you're thinking. And so please let me know. I encourage your feedback. So let's go forward from there. So blood represents about 8% of your total body weight. It's a sticky, opaque liquid with a metallic taste. If you've ever bitten your tongue, you've tasted you've tasted it. The color varies from being a scarlet when it's oxygen rich to being dark red when it's poor. Has a pH of about 7.35 to 7.45. You guys, is that acidic or basic?
Basic. Basic.
Is it really basic, or is it just a little basic?
just a little basic.
It's
A
just-
little.
I was gonna say a little.
just a little. Because remember, this 7 is neutral. So 7.35 to 7.45 is just a little basic. The temperature is approximately 38 degrees. So it's a little higher than normal. Your normal temperature about 37. 37.6, 37.8, somewhere in there. Average volume in women is about 5 liters. In men, it's about 5.5 liters. So before we, with that in mind, how big do you think your full total body mass is in volume? How much volume do you think your body is? Maybe about 12 liters, maybe 15, maybe 25. We will talk a lot about how the vessels regulate blood flow and that different parts of the body are getting different amounts of blood and the flow is being directed towards different parts so that we can make 5 liters in women stretch throughout the whole entire body mass and be where it needs to be at any given moment. And the same thing for men. We'll talk about how the blood vessels work to regulate that flow. So the blood consists of 3 basic types of specialized formed elements suspended in a plasma, which is a liquid portion of the blood. The major formed elements are the erythrocytes. If I remember right, urethra means blood, red. So the red blood cells are the erythrocytes. They're important for oxygen transport and some carbon dioxide release. Thrombocytes, thrombo meaning to clot. The more common word for thrombocytes are platelets, cell fragments that are important for hemostasis. What does stasis mean?
Same.
Same or to be stopped, same or stopped. Hemo means blood, so this is essentially stopping blood flow or stopping blood leaks. Thrombosis is a clot. Leuco means clear or white. So white blood cells are the leukocytes. This is the immune system's major mobile defense units. So erythrocytes, thrombocytes are platelets. White blood cells, we have monocytes, lymphocytes, eosinophils, basophils, and neutrophils. Most formed elements survive in the bloodstream for only a few days. When we start talking about the immune system, we'll learn that some of those cells will last for your lifetime. Most blood cells do not divide, but are renewed within the cells of the bone marrow. Is it the yellow or the red bone marrow? You remember that from last semester?
Red?
It's the red bone marrow. Remember, the yellow bone marrow is just mainly fat. Major functions of the blood. The blood is important in dealing with substance distribution, transport. regulating the levels of particular substances in the blood and body protection. The blood transports oxygen from the lungs and nutrients from the digestive tract. It's involved in removing metabolic waste from the cells and getting it to the lungs and the kidneys for elimination. And circulating hormones from the endocrine glands and helping them arrive at their target organs. Blood also works in regulating temperature by absorbing and distributing the heat. It also is a major player in maintaining the acid-base pH balance. And regulating fluid volumes in the circulatory system. If you've ever stood up too fast and gotten lightheaded, it's your body trying to get the blood volume regulated. The blood prevents blood loss by activating plasma proteins and platelets and initiating clot formation when a vessel is broken. It also is involved in preventing infection by synthesizing and utilizing antibodies and activating what are called the complement proteins and activating white blood cells to defend the body against foreign invaders.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So it just says complement proteins, but like, what are they?
That's a really, really, really good question. Wait until next chapter. Wait until the next That is a great question. It has to do with it is involved in how do I say it? Stimulating the immune system. And it'll make a lot more sense in the next chapter.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so which of the following is not a function of the blood?
A.
A?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Why do you think it's A?
Well, helps because every other one I know it initiates clotting of the blood. It produces plasma hormones, regulates the body temperature. Oh, no, B.
What?
B.
Is it B?
B is in boy or D is in delta?
Boy.
B is in Becky, boy.
Wouldn't it be all of
I
them?
said D.
Why do you think it's D, Kevin?
Because I know it does every other thing.
You're right. It transports hormones, but it
Okay,
doesn't produce them. He's
that's
right.
where I was confused. Good job, Kevin.
Yes. It is involved in maintaining the pH. It is involved in transporting the nutrients. It is involved in initiating blood clotting. And it is involved in regulating the body temperature. It helps with transporting hormones, but it doesn't produce them.
Okay.
One thing that we'll hit on right now, and then we'll talk a
So
lot
you
more.
mean the answer is D?
The answer was D is in delta. This one right here. So it's involved in transporting hormones, twin, but it's not involved in producing them.
Okay.
Okay.
So a hematocrit, and we'll spend a lot more time talking about this in a lab, but the hematocrit is essentially a measure of how much of the blood is red blood cells. What percentage of a whole blood volume is red blood cells? In women, your average percentage hematocrit is 42%. The average percent of that total volume of blood that's plasma is 58%. In males, the average hematocrit is 45%. So that's the percentage red blood cells. So when, by definition, hematocrit is the percentage of red blood cells. With regards to plasma, it's 55% in males. So the first thing when you're evaluating someone's blood is you put a small amount of that blood goes into a capillary tube. And then you spin it down, centrifuge it down. And all the red blood cells sink to the bottom. And then there's a thin layer here called the buffy coat, which contains white blood cells and platelets. And then the top volume is the plasma. The hematocrit is what percentage of this length is erythrocytes. So in females, it's 42%. In males, it's 45%. If the plasma is treated with something that clots, eliminates the clotting proteins, the plasma is then just serum. Once you get rid of the clotting proteins, it's just serum. Serum contains everything in the plasma except for the clotting proteins. So we'll see this again in a few slides here. One thing that's really important to talk about is the difference between blood viscosity and blood osmolarity. Blood viscosity has to do with the number of red blood cells. Think of this every time we talk about blood flow, which we will spend a lot of time talking about blood flow. How many of you have to water a garden during the summer or water your lawn during the summer?
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
When you just barely turn on the hose, what's the rate of flow of water going through the hose when you just barely turn it on? So it's just a small amount.
It's like a trickle.
It's just a trickle. So there's not very much moving through there, right? Once you turn it on, let's see, once you turn it on more, then it starts flowing a lot faster. What causes it to flow faster?
Is it the pressure?
It is the pressure.
The
Jane,
pressure,
you're the
okay.
same one who licked the battery last semester.
I did. It's okay though. That's fine.
So what the difference here, viscosity is the idea of running syrup through a hose, like taking maple syrup, like, let's see, what's a good type of syrup I know of?
What about like corn syrup?
Yeah, I mean, taking corn syrup and running it through a hose versus water through a hose. The more sugar you add to that syrup, the more viscous it gets. Think of the viscosity as being the number of sugar molecules in there. And in the case of blood viscosity, the sugar molecules are red blood cells. So the more red blood cells, the more sugar molecules, the more molecules you put in that liquid, the more syrupy it becomes, the thicker it becomes, the more viscous it becomes. If you increase the number of red blood cells in a certain volume of blood, you get more, bear with me here. The more molecules you add to that blood, the more viscous it becomes. It becomes more resistant to flowing. Osmolarity has to do with all the other things dissolved in the blood that aren't cells. This is all the other things that aren't cells. So they're not platelets and they're not white. Everything else that doesn't include white blood cells, platelets, or red blood cells. You see erythrocytes. Erythrocytes would be viscosity. So it includes everything that is dissolved in there, which isn't a cell. Anything that isn't cells is included in that osmolarity. So the amount of ions in there, the amount of dissolved proteins in the blood, that's all blood osmolarity. Viscosity is the amount of red blood cells.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So the osmolarity, so it doesn't have the white blood cells and platelets and that kind of thing, but it does have the erythrocytes, red blood cells.
You know what? I got this from another PowerPoint, this slide right here. And I think the erythrocytes, that isn't right. Because what we want to do is link viscosity in your head, blood viscosity, to the number of red blood cells in that blood.
Okay.
So the higher the percentage of red blood cells within a given volume of blood, the
Higher-
more
yeah.
viscous that blood is.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes. Let me look, I'm gonna look a little further into that question because that's the way it's been explained to me. And that's the way I want you to understand it, is that it's everything except for the cellular component, the formed elements. The osmolarity has to do with everything except for the formed elements here.
Okay.
And the major formed element that contributes to viscosity is the erythrocytes. These are small. There's not half as many, or there's a very small percentage of leukocytes compared to erythrocytes. This is why erythrocytes is the key player in contributing to viscosity. So think of viscosity as having to do with the number of red blood cells. Osmolarity has to do with everything else dissolved in the blood that isn't a cell or a formed element. Major constituents in the blood and their functions. This is just mainly a summary chart, but water acts as a transport medium, helps carry heat away to and from an area. Electrolytes. If you remember last semester when we talked a lot about action potentials and membrane potentials, electrolytes are important in membrane excitability and in fluid osmolarity and in buffering pH changes. Nutrients, waste, gases, and hormones are transported in blood, and the carbon dioxide, which is one of the waste gases, is involved in the acid-base balance. We'll talk a lot this semester about how carbon dioxide is technically an acid, especially in the blood. It works as an acid. Plasma proteins exert an osmotic effect that's important in the distribution of extracellular fluid between the vascular and interstitial compartments. Buffers pH changes and transports many substances. Includes clotting factors, inactive precursor molecules, and antibodies. We'll learn here in a little while that most of your clotting factors circulate constantly in the body but are inactive. Erythrocytes, red blood cells, transport oxygen and carbon dioxide, mainly oxygen. Leukocytes, we have 5 different types. Neutrophils, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes, and lymphocytes. And with regards to lymphocytes, there's 2 different kinds. There's B lymphocytes that mature in the bone marrow, and T lymphocytes that mature in the thymus. And then there's platelets. Plasma, a lot of times when people are just struggling to have become, let's see, what's a good one? When we just need to elevate their blood volume, we will give them just plasma and not whole blood. We'll transfuse plasma. because if we can elevate the blood volume, then the amount of volume to the blood, the body will regenerate the red blood cells on its own. So 90% of the plasma is water that can contain over 100 solutes, such as electrolytes, sodium, potassium, calcium, chloride, bicarbonate, its function in membrane excitability and the osmotic distribution. Non-protein nitrogenous substances, lactic acid, urea, and creatinine. Organic nutrients, glucose, carbohydrates, and amino acids. And respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide, and many other substances. The major plasma components that are proteins are albumins, globulins, and fibrinogen. They altogether compose about 6 to 8% of the plasma's total weight. These proteins are mainly made in the liver and they don't exit the blood except in the case of trauma. The major protein that's involved in helping to maintain the osmotic pressure, do you guys remember what osmosis was from last semester? What was it, Jade? Someone else, what was osmosis?
I'm sorry, I thought I unmuted myself. Didn't it have something to do with like the diffusion of water?
It is, that's exactly what it is actually. So it's a diffusion of water. So osmotic pressure is the pressure on the water to move into a given compartment. The major plasma protein that's involved in regulating this osmotic pressure is albumin. Globulins, we have three basic types. We have alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha and beta are enzymes that are involved in converting certain proteins to other things, and gamma globulins are involved in immunity. And fibrinogen is the key factor involved in blood clotting. Major distinction between plasma versus serum. Serum is plasma that's had all the clotting proteins removed. So another way to think of it, if this is the major clotting protein is fibrinogen, serum is plasma that's had the fibrinogen removed.
So it has all the, did you say the fibro?
Say it one more time.
So when you say serum, it has the heaven forbid, I don't want to say it wrong and get fibrinogen removed.
Fibrinogen, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's all of the, it has everything except for the clotting factors. And the major,
which is the
because
fibro.
is the fibrinogen is a major clotting factor. There are other clotting factors, but the major one is fibrinogen.
Okay. So like if somebody is on a blood thinner, it removes, it's basically, they have less of the fibrinogen.
Fibrinogen.
Yeah. Is that kind of, because
I-
like when people are on blood thinners, they don't clot, like it's a huge thing.
Mom. Help with this one.
Time for the second teacher.
When the
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Yep.
Hi, Mom.
what when they're on blood thinners, isn't it specifically going after certain clotting factors, blood thinners?
Yes.
Okay. So it's essentially blood thinners work almost as an enzyme enzyme inhibitor against certain factors. So
it's not necessarily just that one, it's a couple of them.
Yeah, and it depends on which thinner it is.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Did you say enzyme inhibitor?
Yes.
Thank you.
So for you students who did not have me last semester, my roommate, who is my mom here, is a retired nurse practitioner. She has some very amazing clinical insights that I do not have. Like I know a lot of anatomy. I'm learning a lot. I know a lot of anatomy. I know a lot of physiology. I have a master's in both of them. But when it comes to a lot of clinical things, we have some very interesting conversations. And it'll be in, she's my outside of my dog here in my lap. she's also my other teaching assistant. Her mom. Yep. Okay. So a normal hematocrit is what of the total blood volume?
Would it be D?
I was gonna say D as well.
D is in delta?
Yes.
Yes, I think that's right. D is in delta. 42 to 45.
Yep.
Which of the following is not normally found in plasma?
That gosh,
A. Glycogen.
Why would you say it's A?
Well, because I'm looking at my book and it's not listed on the composition of blood plasma.
It's not. You're right. You're right. It's not that. You guys, do you remember what glycogen is? Glycogen is the big polysaccharide stored form of glucose. You find it in muscle.
It's like a
and liver.
sugar.
Yeah, you're not going to find it just floating around in the plasma. Serum is essentially identical to plasma except for the absence of what?
Clotting factors.
Well, which one of those?
Oh,
A. A, yes.
A.
Yes. Erythrocytes. So erythrocytes are red blood cells. They're about 7.5 microns, so about 10 to the minus 6th. And about two microns thick. they have this donut-like shape where they're actually looking at them through a microscope. They look hollow in the center. They're made to the structure is made to maximize surface area. Because the more surface area we have, the better diffusion we have of materials in and out of that molecule, which in this case is oxygen and carbon dioxide. So the structure itself is made to help maintain oxygen transport. It also is a very flexible little flexible disc that allows it to easily move and circulate. So the biconcave disc, this biconcave meaning concave on both sides, I think of it as a basketball that's been punched in on both sides. Provides a large surface area, and the thinness of the cell enables oxygen to diffuse rapidly. It's also very flexible. It allows the red blood cells to travel through narrow capillaries without rupturing in the process. Their structural characteristics are important to their gas function. Discounting the water content within the erythrocytes, the 97% of the erythrocyte is hemoglobin. If you want to think of it, think of the erythrocytes as being a big bag of hemoglobin. They don't have a nucleus. They don't have ribosomes. Maybe they have a few ribosomes just in case, but they don't have mitochondria. They are just big bags of hemoglobin. Because they don't have mitochondria, they don't generate any ATP aerobically, meaning from oxygen. So erythrocytes will not consume the oxygen they transport. They also have an important membrane protein called spectrin that allows erythrocytes to maintain their biconcave shape, giving them their flexibility. This is vital. This biconcave flexible shape, this really easy way to slip through things and move and travel very easily, is really important, because when you think one of the disorders that is an inherited mutation of spectrin is what we call spherocytosis. Sphero meaning a sphere, where the erythrocytes lose that biconcave shape. And the result is that we lose the membrane stability and the flexibility of that biconcave shape, resulting in spherical shaped cells. These cells they're not as easily movable through small capillaries. They're also, because they're more rigid and not as easily moved, they're predisposed to getting degraded in the spleen, leading to hemolysis. You guys, what's hemolysis? Remember what lysis is from last semester? What does lysis mean?
So the breakup.
Yep, lysis means to break up. So hemo meaning blood. So this is the rupture of red blood cells. So remember, red blood cells are just a bag of hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is found in all red blood cells. Its pigment contains iron and appears reddish when oxygenated and bluish when deoxygenated. When the oxygen binds to the iron, it takes on a very reddish hue. When there's no oxygen bound to the iron, it takes on a more bluish hue. We will talk a lot more about hemoglobin when we talk about respiration, because a lot of that is oxygen transport. But for right now, know that the molecule consists of two parts. It's got 4 highly folded polypeptide chains and a heme group within each of the polypeptide globulin molecules. And in the center of each heme group, there's an iron that binds to the oxygen. Its primary role is to carry oxygen throughout the body. It also can combine with carbon dioxide and the hydrogen ion portion of carbonic acid. It also combines with carbon monoxide and to nitric oxide. Why is carbon monoxide so nasty? Because it binds to the iron where oxygen should bind. And it binds 200 times stronger. If you've ever seen what someone looks like when they die of carbon monoxide poisoning, they have a reddish cherry-like hue to them, because their hemoglobin are saturated. All of the iron are saturated, but they're not saturated with oxygen. They're saturated with carbon monoxide. Hemoglobin also binds to nitric oxide. What dictates how the oxygen is going to move, whether it's going to move into the cells or out of the cells? If you remember, we talked about pressure gradients at the very beginning. We were talking about the pressure through a hose. When Jade is out watering her garden or watering her lawn, does the water move towards the place of highest pressure or the place of lowest pressure? Lowest pressure. So if the oxygen pressure is higher in the red blood cell and lower in the outer tissues, if it's higher in the red blood cell, lower in the outer tissues, it's going to move into the outer tissues. If it's higher in the lungs and lower in the red blood cell, it's going to move into the red blood cells. What I want you to get a real feel for this.
Can you repeat that again? I am so sorry.
No, that's fine. It's all, anything is always going to, everything and anything always moves from a high to a low, and that's we push it one way or another. So oxygen is always going to move from a higher pressure or a higher concentration to a lower concentration. It's going to move from a higher pressure of oxygen to a lower pressure of oxygen. So when we're in the tissues, when the red blood cell is in the capillaries next to a tissue that's been working really hard, so there's less oxygen in the tissue, and there's more oxygen in the red blood cell, the oxygen is going to leave the red blood cell and move into the tissues. When that same red blood cell is in the lungs, where there's more oxygen in the lungs and less in the cells, that oxygen is going to move from the lungs into the cells. Always think of this as a pressure gradient or a movement gradient where everything moves from a high to a low all the time. We will spend a lot more time on this when we talk about respiration. Right now, understand that it's involved in transporting, the red blood cells are involved in transporting the oxygen, picking it up in the lungs and delivering it to the tissues. Let me pause for a minute. Is this clear, or do we have any, does anyone have questions for me?
Nope.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
What time is it? If you will see, so we are set up, so we go until 10:40. And then we have an hour break. I actually was set up last semester so that it would go right from 10:40 into 11, starting with lab. And I decided that was not going to work for me and that we needed an hour break in between there. I don't know about you guys, but I can't sit in front of my computer for 7 hours.
That's a great plan.
So
I actually use that break to shower. My shower break.
Becky, that's not more information than I needed here. That's
I know. I
that
grab, yeah, that's why I'll look like this now, and then after break I'll look totally different.
The same.
all right. That's
Will you be teaching lab, or is that still with
nope,
Dr.?
it's me. It's me.
Oh,
me.
nice. Okay. Okay.
It's me the whole time. You get me, you got to deal with me for the whole time.
That makes me feel more comfortable.
See?
Good. I hope you still feel that way at the end of the semester. So right now, so hemoglobin, oxygenated hemoglobin is bright red, called oxyhemoglobin. Oxygen loading takes place in the lungs. Deoxygenated hemoglobin is dark red. Hemoglobin feels that way. So hemoglobin, after the oxygen is diffused into the tissues. Remember with Zena's comment question, why is the oxygen moving from into the red blood cells in the lung, out of the lungs into the red blood cells, and then moving from the cells into the tissues when we're out in the peripheral tissues? Because of the change in the pressure gradients. So when the hemoglobin is bright red, it's called oxyhemoglobin, meaning that the hemoglobin is oxidated. When the oxygen leaves the hemoglobin, it's reduced. If you remember, we talked about oxidation reduction reactions last semester at the very beginning. I know it was like one of the first chapters. If you think of it this way for right now. Oxygen is when you add oxygen to something. If you take it away, you reduce it. And we'll see it differently here in a moment, but right now, think of it that way. If you're not, if you have to go back, look at those oxidation reduction reactions again. But remember that oxygen is oxidating the hemoglobin. When it's removed, it's reducing it. So when when the hemoglobin doesn't have oxygen bound to it, is called deoxyhemoglobin. When it's bound to carbon dioxide, it's called carbaminohemoglobin. So erythrocytes transport oxygen and what?
D, as in David.
So they transport nutrients. You're right. You know what? There's more than one right answer to this question. Let's say transport nutrients. I think we'll go with that one right now. But it's also, they can transport some carbon dioxide, but the majority of it, actually, no. Bear with me here. The plasma transports nutrients. The erythrocytes only transport carbon dioxide.
Okay.
Kind of a tricky question. But the plasma is where the nutrients are. If you remember, erythrocytes are essentially a bag of hemoglobin. 97% hemoglobin. So when it's a bag of hemoglobin, think of the one and only job for erythrocytes is to transport oxygen and carbon dioxide.
Okay.
The plasma, all the other stuff in the blood, the majority of that is plasma, does everything else. Has everything else in it.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So when you said the nutrients for plasma, is that the glucose, carbohydrates, and amino acids?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, thank
you. So iron is a major part of maintaining hemoglobin. If we don't have iron, the hemoglobin isn't going to work anyway, because how do we transport the oxygen? We transport it bound to iron. So part of learning about blood involves learning about iron metabolism. One of the first steps in iron metabolism is when it comes into the stomach, we get a mixture of two different types of iron. The iron 3+ versus the iron 2+, this is what we call an oxidation number. Bear with me just for a second here. So these little numbers up here, these are what we call the oxidation number. If you remember that has to do with the electrons of the atom and whether or not what the charge is on the atom. We also call these these are also called oxidation numbers. If we increase in oxidation numbers, we increase the oxidation number from a 2+ to a 3+, we're oxidizing something. If we reduce the oxidation number, we're taking it from a 3+ to a 2+. We're reducing the number. So if you remember from before, Leo goes ger. Remember that mnemonic for oxidation reduction. To lose electrons is oxidation. To gain electrons is reduction. Losing electrons, you go up in oxidation number. To get reduced, you go down in oxidation numbers. Right now, all I want you to understand of this is that when the iron comes into the stomach, it gets reduced. So it goes from an iron 3+ to an iron 2+. It goes down in oxidation number. So it's going to get reduced. And when it gets reduced, it binds to what's called gastroferritin. Ferritin, this F, you remember Fe here, Fe up here? Think of ferritin as being iron. Anytime you see this Ferritin, this is iron. So anything that's got this in it, in the word, has to do with something that's binding iron. I can't remember where this Fe comes from, but I'm pretty sure it comes from this word. It's Latin for iron or something to that effect. I'll have to look it up later, but I'm pretty sure that that's where that Fe comes from. So every time you think of iron, think of ferritin. So the iron gets reduced in the stomach. It gets in. Once you eat it, it's one of those trace minerals you have to eat. So we eat it. Not really a trace mineral. It's one of those minerals you have to eat. Trace minerals have a very small percentage in your body. Iron is not that small of a percentage, but it is one of those essential minerals that we have to ingest it. So iron binds to gastroferritin. Gastroferritin then will transport that iron to the small intestines where it is absorbed. Once it's absorbed, the iron is released from the gastroferritin. Think of gastro as being the thing that binds iron in the stomach. Gastro meaning stomach. So it binds iron in the stomach. Then it's absorbed into the blood, and once it's absorbed into the blood, the Fe2+ binds to transferrin. In the liver, some of the transferrin releases iron for storage, where that iron binds to apoferritin and is stored as ferritin in the liver. The remaining amount of transferrin is distributed to other organs to make hemoglobin and myoglobin. So just to summarize really quickly here. It's absorbed, once it's taken into the stomach, it's reduced from iron 3+ to iron 2+. And that's a reduction, and then it's bound to gastroferritin. And as gas, once the iron is bound to gastroferritin, it moves into the small intestines where it's absorbed into the blood plasma. In the blood plasma, the iron is transferred from gastroferritin to transferritin. And from there, it moves a lot of it moves to the liver, where it is taken off the transferrin and bound to apoferritin and stored as ferritin. The rest of the transferrin that isn't dropped off, where it doesn't, the rest of the transferrin that still has iron bound to it, that isn't released in the liver, is distributed to other organs where iron is used to make hemoglobin, myoglobin, etc. So reduction occurs in the stomach, then it binds to gastroferritin. Once it's absorbed into the small intestines and into the blood in the small intestines, it's bound to transferrin. In the liver, it's stored by binding that iron to apoferritin or apoferritin, and is stored in the form of ferritin. Whatever is not stored in the liver of iron is transferred via transferritin throughout the body to other organs where hemoglobin and myoglobin are made and other things. Is this clear?
Yes.
Life and death of erythrocytes. So average lifespan of a erythrocyte is about 120 days. Nutrients are absorbed in the small intestines that are required for making erythrocytes, which is then transferred to the red bone marrow, where erythropoiesis is performed. Remember, or just to review, poiesis always means the production of something. So erythropoiesis is the production of erythrocytes. The erythrocytes then circulate for about 120 days. And then the old ones are degraded and broken up in the liver and the spleen. And the fragments are phagocytized.
What was the opposite of that erythropoiesis again? You said erythropoiesis is the production, and what's the other one?
Degradation. It's just degraded.
Degraded, okay.
Or broken down. Another
Okay,
another word might be erythrolysis. Lysis, poiesis meaning to produce, lysis meaning to break down.
Okay.
So in the spleen and the liver, the hemoglobin is degraded. The globin components are hydrolyzed to free the amino acids. Remember, those are the polypeptide chains. The heme is broken down, and the iron is either stored, reused, or lost via menstruation. The heme protein itself is converted into what's called biliverdin. That's then converted to bilirubin. Bilirubin is what gives poo sometimes its yellowish brownish color feces. It's also what you see when people are jaundiced from liver malfunctions, is when this is building up in the liver. And because it's building up in the liver, it's building up in the blood. So where do most red blood cells die?
Is it C?
You said C?
Yeah,
Was
I
that-
said C.
You're right. Okay. Erythropoiesis. So just as a review, and one sec, I'm just going to stop for 1 second here. So urethral, think of that as always meaning red blood cell. Poiesis means production of things, or producing, or making. Just say producing. Lysis is degradation. Or breakdown. Stay with me for just 3 more minutes here. So erythrocyte production is erythropoiesis. Red blood cells live about 120 days, and then the spleen removes most of them from circulation. You replace your red blood cells at a rate of about 2 to 3 million cells per second. And it occurs in the bone marrow, where we have pluripotent stem cells that differentiate into the different types of blood cells. How does your body know when it needs to produce more red blood cells? Well, remember, what's the major function and what's the, let's say, the one and only function of red blood cells? Their one and only function is to transport some carbon dioxide, but the majority is oxygen. Remember, they're just big bags of hemoglobin. And hemoglobin's job is to transport oxygen. When the oxygen levels drop, that's when the body knows that it has to create more red blood cells. Let's stop right here. And let me think over the next hour and 20 minutes whether we'll continue from here or whether we'll jump into the lab. Let me think about it a little bit. But let's stop right here, and I will see you back here at noon.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Zena, were you able to register?
I actually didn't do it yet.
Okay.
I'll try it.
No pressure. Just tell me if it doesn't work, okay?
Okay, I definitely will. Thank you.
Catherine or Alyssa, are you there? All right, I will be back in a little while.